I apologize profusely in advance for all the names that I will mispronounce and butcher. As you can see, there's a microphone in front of me, which means that this is more of a podcast-style review, more chill, fewer cuts. So kick back, relax, and just hang out with me while we talk about SANJU. SANJU, the latest film from Rajkumar Hirani. It's his first film since 2014's PK. I should say that I've watched most of his movies. The only one I haven't watched is the sequel to Munnabai MBBS. I really liked Munnabai MBBS. I love Three Idiots. I really loved PK. And now we're talking about SANJU. So how did I feel about it? On Stardust, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and that's because I can't nuance the rating anymore. I would really give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the reason why it's not a perfect 5, I will talk about later. First, I want to talk about a couple of other things that I loved about the movie. So Rajkumar Hirani, he wrote this. Sorry, my phone was down here. He wrote this with, I was going to say Bhavesh Joshi. He wrote this with Avijit Joshi, and I want to talk about the script before anything else because I think that they did an excellent job with this script. I mean, it's a biopic, and biopics are always difficult to do. You're taking a dude's life, this larger-than-life figure who's gone through so much, and you're compressing his whole life down to 2.5 hours. Like, really? It's a really hard thing to do. Now, the first comparison that comes to mind is Aaron Sorkin's Steve Jobs. Now, I don't know if Aaron Sorkin directed it. I can't remember, but I know he wrote it. He decided the structure of that movie, and he broke up Steve Jobs' biopic into 3 parts. The 3 major Apple releases that Aaron Sorkin wanted to emphasize, and he fit all of Steve Jobs' drama into those 3 events. Now, that's not how it went in real life. Aaron Sorkin took a lot of liberties to tell this story this particular way because this was the most interesting way for him to tell that story, and I completely agree with it. They did the same thing here. At least that's what the film indicated at the beginning. They had a little message explaining that they changed certain characters' names and certain events were shifted for dramatic purposes, and I completely agree with taking that artistic license to tell a better story. So Sanjay Dutt is obviously this monumental person, like I said, larger than life, and he's gone through so much that it's kind of impossible to break down his whole life into or compress his life into 2.5 hours. You could probably take his life and do a whole Netflix series on it that lasts a few seasons. So what did Rajkumar Hirani decide to do in order to effectively tell this story, in order to tell an arc in Sanjay Dutt's life? What he did was he chose 2 major events. Before I proceed, I don't think there's a whole lot I can spoil here. Sanjay, like, you guys probably know way more about Sanjay Dutt than I do. And so I feel like it's impossible for me to spoil anything. But if there is anything that comes up during the course of this video that I feel like might be a spoiler, I will hold back or I'll warn you in advance. So what Rajkumar Hirani did was he decided to pick 2 major events in Sanjay Dutt's life and make that the movie, essentially, and make that the arc. So the first major set of events, I should say. The first major set of events was Sanjay Dutt dealing with nepotism in a very bad way and becoming a drug addict and having to overcome his drug addiction. The second half of the film is about him dealing with the accusations of being a terrorist and going to jail. And this film does its best to tell things honestly from Sanjay Dutt's perspective. And I think in that regard, it did an excellent job. In the first 30, 45 minutes of the film, I was a little bit thrown because stylistically, it was just a little strange to me that it was so whimsical during these moments that, Sanjay Dutt was like getting into cocaine for the first time and getting into drugs. And the film was still like colorful and whimsical, like happy in a way. And it threw me, and I'm like, why is he doing this? Why is Rajkumar Hirani doing this? Like, why is this the choice he's making instead of letting it go darker? And I think the reason why is because from Sanjay Dutt's perspective, it is just kind of whimsical. It is just kind of like that. And I think that the style that he went with was, I mean, unless you guys can tell me a different, bit of information that makes more sense of it, the style he went with was an effort to honor Sanjay Dutt's perspective, his outlook on life. There are things that are going to be left out on purpose. But that being said, I feel like the film was still honest. I feel like the film still really showed you some of the messed up things that Sanjay Dutt had done. Like, oh my God, like in the first 30 minutes, I was like, this guy is not likable. This guy is just like, he's just the things he's doing, like, is so awful. After that, like, obviously, your feelings change about the guy over the course of the movie. You see he's just full of heart, and he's full of so much love. But, like, they didn't shy away from some of the messed up things that he did, and I thought that was great. And they also explained some of the things that he did that a lot of people gave him the wrong label for. Now, this is from his perspective. It's his movie. There's going to be certain liberties taken, certain artistic licensing taken in order to effectively tell this story, but it does a pretty good job of being honest about Sanjay Dutt and telling a really good story at the same time. I got emotional sometimes. The movie made me emotional. I don't want to explain why, but the movie really moved me. There was a dude next to me who recognized me. I don't remember his name right now, and I feel like a big jerk for not remembering his name, but he recognized me, and I sat down, we watched the film. And at one point, when I got emotional, I saw him pull his jacket over his head. I don't want Jaby KOAY to see me crying. This is not real. If I put this jacket over my head, no one is seeing this, and it's not real. But truth be told, man, Jaby KOAY was crying. I was off to the side, just trying to control myself because the movie was making me emotional. Rajkumar Hirani worked very well with his actors to pull out some amazing performances, not to take away anything from his actors. His actors obviously brought a lot to the table. Rajkumar Hirani and Ranbir Kapoor are the two major fundamental reasons I want to watch this film. I wanted to watch the film outside of learning about, Sanjay Dutt. Ranbir Kapoor is an actor who's grown on me. As I've watched him more and more, I've realized just how brilliant he is. I'm not as exposed to Sanjay Dutt as most of you are, but from what little exposure I've had, it seems like Ranbir Kapoor nailed it. Now, his voice isn't going to be exactly like Sanjay Dutt. It never was, right? But, I mean, he did a pretty damn good job, all things considered. He even got, the mannerisms down. It was like he did a very... There were moments where I was like, it was basically like watching Sanjay Dutt. Paresh Rawal, who played Sunil Dutt, that dude is amazing. He's done over 200 movies, so he should be, but he's amazing. He grounded the movie and really made it real, and he had a lot of nuances in his expressions. He did such a good job. And then Vicky Kaushal, good God, that guy is talented. I've seen him a few times, and every time I watch him, he is a different dude. He is a completely different dude. And it is amazing. The guy he is in this movie is 100% different from the dude in Raman Raghav 2.0. 100% different. He is so versatile, this guy. Sonam Kapoor, every time I say she's good, there's always a handful of you who are like, no, she's shit. And then you get on me in the comments, and I'm like, well, I don't know, man. I'm watching her, and she looks pretty good to me. Not just pretty, but she seems like she's doing a really good job. And here in particular, man alive, there's this scene in the movie where she has a freak out. And I've seen a freak out or two in my time. Jaby's pissed off a lot of women in his time. And I got to tell you, that shit was real. That was real. That was real. Her just going ballistic. It was real. She did a great job. Anushka Sharma, she didn't have a whole lot to play with in the movie, but what she had, she did a good job with. Jim Sarb, this guy, he's always the slimy, sniveling character in a movie every time I watch him, or at least from what I recall. I can't remember what he did in Death in the Gunj. It's been a while since I watched it, and the movie wasn't my favorite movie. I remember him in Nirja, and obviously I remember him in this, and he's good at playing those guys who are not likable people. I imagine in real life he's one of the nicest dudes, and he's very chill and fun to get a beer with. But in the movies, he plays those ugly, yucky characters so well. And when I say ugly, I mean internally ugly, Shallow Hal ugly. Boman Irani. Now I know a lot of you love this guy. Okay, well, I criticized him in 3 Idiots for the lisp he decided to employ, and a number of you got on my case saying he's a brilliant actor, and I believe you. I've seen that he's versatile and has got a lot of range. In the beginning of his, when he first shows up in the movie, his acting there bothered me. It was just a little bit much for me. But then after that, I felt like his performance for me got better. I was just a little thrown because his initial performance, I was just like, why are you doing this, man? And it was a little cartoony for me, but then it got better, and, that's it. It got better. I apologize to you Beaumont Irani fans that love him so much that he can do no wrong, but, there was just some things in the beginning of, but after that, it was great. The other thing I want to quickly mention are the white actors. Now, every time I talk about this, y'all have the same response. Well, this is what you get for Apu. First off, I didn't make Apu, okay? And Apu's one guy. I mean, I'm sure there's other things you can reference, like the Big Bang Theory and whatever. I didn't watch that show. But every time I see a white actor in a Bollywood movie, in an Indian movie, they're terrible. They're awful. All the white actors in this movie were awful, especially the doctor. Like, what? Who? That's not even a person. And then, like, at one point, Sanjay Dutt was hitching a ride, and the actor in the car had one line: "Hop in the back." And the guy delivered it like, if you put cardboard there, it would have done a better job acting. Like, they were all bad. Bollywood, if you're listening and you're open to an American, being the casting person for the American actors or the white actors, please sign me up for the next war. Hire me. I will cast the white actors and I will give you the best ones, please, because you need better white actors. They're all bad. Every time I see one, I'm like, that's an actor? That's who you got? Why that person? That's not accurately representing anything that is real. Anyway, yeah, so white actors always bothered me in the movies. And yeah, that's what we get for Apu. I get it. There's a cool after credits moment. Not after credits. There's a cool moment as soon as the movie ends, during the credits, that you guys should watch that I thought was pretty cool. I thought that was really, really neat. Now, I think I have refrained from mentioning the thing I don't like this whole time. I think I should just end the video and not talk about it because it might piss some of you guys off. Now, I'm going to say in advance that the thing I don't like is something that probably won't bother any of you guys. But it bothered me. Jaby KOAY's always got something to criticize, right? He's got to pick something. The music. Now, I don't think the music I disliked was the music by Ar-Rahman. Okay? I know he was a guest composer, or he did a couple of things in the movie, but I'm pretty sure the things I didn't like had nothing to do with him. There were certain dramatic moments in the movie where something was revealed, something was said, and then the music comes in strong, and it's like, why? It kind of undercut the emotion I was supposed to have or wanted to have from that revelation. If there was no music at all during those moments, it would have been 1,000 times more effective for me. But because the music came in like that, very dramatic, it undercut the feeling for me. Now, that didn't happen every time. It just happened throughout the movie a handful of times, but during important moments. And because it happened during important moments, it cut into my entertainment value significant enough that I had to bring this down from 5 stars to 4.5, or 4.5 Jaby heads. That was the big thing that bothered me. It was the music, like just the certain parts. Like, I'm like, why is this music so loud? Just take it back a notch. But outside of that, everything about the movie is so well crafted. It's just the culmination of all the talent in this movie. It's just amazing. They did a good job of compressing this dude's life down to something that is an interesting film. Rajkumar Hirani told a beautiful picture. He worked with his DP to bring out some beautiful colors, and the visual effects was great. The visual effects was amazing. The acting was amazing. The writing was great. There's set design, costumes, all this. It was all on point. It was a wonderful movie. If you guys want me to do a much more in-depth spoiler review, ask me specific questions about the movie in the comments below, and I'll do a second video. If I get a bunch of questions, I'll do a second video just answering all of your questions about the film, and that'll be my spoiler review, and I think that'll be pretty cool. But only if I get a lot of questions from you guys. If I get 2 questions, there's no point in doing a video on that. But yeah, so that's it for now, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films. I'm Jaby KOAY. Peace out.